We are now beyond day 100 of Dr. Shawn Joseph's Interim Superintendent of PGCPS's 100-day plan.
Our Mikayla Newton is in the studio now for a sit-down interview to talk to him about what the school system has been able to accomplish.
I'm here joined by Interim Superintendent of Prince George's County Public Schools, Dr. Shawn Joseph. Dr. Joseph, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so your 100 days in office is this Friday, yes. And one of the things that you set out was to have this 100-day plan, but that's not something that is typical for interim superintendents. So what made you want to have that 100-day plan?
You know, I thought it was important coming back to Prince George's County that people were clear about what we were doing. You know, as I came in after, superintendent had left early, I just thought it was important to keep everybody focused on what we were doing. And so people knew for the past 3 months, there was no question, what are they working on, and did they do it, and what are the results? And now I can give those answers with specificity.
So tell me what has worked and what maybe hasn't worked.
Yeah, I think so over the course of the 100 days, what we have focused on is just being more transparent and really engaging the community. And so we had 20 listen and learning sessions. So we did a virtual session in all 9 communities, and then an in-person session in all 9 board communities. And then we had 2 additional just for kicks, to kind of get out into the community and really listen deeply. So we engaged almost 2,000 different community members, understanding their hopes and dreams, and really helping us focus. And those conversations allowed us to identify 5 big rocks that we said we were going to focus on for the year.
What were some of the top things that you wanted to focus on? And again, has there been something that hasn't worked that you still want to focus on? Yeah,
no, it was really important that we really engage with the Board of Education and the community to understand what we were going to do first, second, and third. It was really important that we focused on our vacancies and recruitment strategies. We looked at our academics to see where we were, particularly in reading and mathematics, and what we could do to accelerate progress. And we focused on just organizational culture. When I came in, there was a big concern about buses and making sure buses were to, be there on time, and how we would communicate and all of those types of things. So, it was really about focusing, and I feel great about where we've landed. We've got a great community in Prince George's County. We've got amazing kids, amazing staff, but one of the things that I did talk about was that we have huge variance. We've got a huge difference between like our most performing schools and our most challenged schools. And it takes the system to really put pressure on points to decrease that variance to make sure we can have excellence at scale. And that's the work that's ahead.
And going back to student achievement, PGCPS recently launched their performance dashboard that was launched. Tell me a little bit about that. What does it track?
Yeah, so the dashboard was important, because we have state tests that measure proficiency, that give one indication of how students are performing in Prince George's County, but it doesn't tell how kids are growing. The dashboards were important because it allows us to answer the question, are students making adequate growth in Prince George's County schools in reading and mathematics? Are schools making adequate growth? So now when you go to our dashboards, you can see, is the district growing appropriately? Is your individual school growing appropriately? And is your individual child growing appropriately? So you can go to our website now and click and get information at those 3 levels, which is extremely important. Because what we found over the course of the first 100 days is that, we are a 96% Black and brown school district. And African American students and Latino students, on average, actually perform better than African American and Latino students in the state of Maryland. Now, that's important to know, because what we show through our data is that, a kid in Prince George's County does just as good as or better than any kid in the state. And that's not a narrative that's been kind of out there. There's been the perception that we do worse than many places, and it's just not true.
what is next for the county? What is next for the school district?
Yeah, now that the 100 days is complete and we have a good assessment on where we are, we've got to build a strategic plan and move towards the future. So we'll be going into the budget season. Simultaneously, we'll be going into the strategic planning season. This is going to be a tough budget year for us. We probably will be looking to save $30 to $50 million in this budget year. And we'll probably need to look at about $100 million going into next year. So while there'll be work that we'll have to collaboratively do to cut funds, we also have to identify where we're going to invest funds to accelerate. And so we've been talking about those areas that we want to accelerate in. On January 20th, we will officially have a State of the Schools event. And at that point, I'll be able to present a budget with more accuracy and communicate the vision on how we're moving forward, starting with next year. What are those investments we're going to put in to actually accelerate the work that's happening in our district.
All right, Dr. Joseph, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and we'll toss it back to you all at the desk.
Maryland's report card was released last week and showed improvement within Prince George's County Public Schools.
This year, the district's numbers of 5-star schools increased from 4 to 6, showing growth at both elementary and secondary schools.